Hello and welcome to today's NCFE provider CPD webinar on getting the most out of NurseryVue and the Education and Childcare T-level teaching and learning resources. This is the second of two recorded sessions, and today's topic is looking at multi-agency working. This session is a recording made available to our centres. If you have any questions, please contact us at learningresources@ncfe.org.uk or innovation@ncfe.org.uk. We welcome questions from centres, so please do contact us if you have any queries related to the teaching and learning of the Education and Childcare T-level. Our contact details will also be shared on the final slide of this recording. To get the most out of this webinar, it would be useful if you have a pen and paper handy to make any notes or comments you would like to send us at the end. You can pause and rewind at any point during this recording. Okay, so we'll start off with some quick introductions. We have included pictures to allow you to put faces to our voices. So hello from me, my name is Jill Childs and I am the Systems Trainer for Learning Resources. My role is to offer support to centres with the resources that have been developed, the platforms that they run on, and to offer support and guidance to ensure centres get as much as they can out of what has been developed. I have worked in the education sector for over 20 years, mainly with 16 to 24-year-olds on different government programmes, where I have assessed and delivered vocational qualifications with the lead on apprenticeship delivery. I've also worked in commercial training, where I was part of a nationwide team to support staff on the installation and use of a new customer-facing platform.
Hello, my name is Tom Rogerson, and I'm an Innovation Officer within our Innovation and Investments department. A key part of my role is to help create new resources using new technologies to support students with our qualifications. NurseryVue is an example of just that, and in this session, my colleague Jill and I will demonstrate to you how you can use these resources to help deliver T-levels. The outcomes of today's sessions are to identify the topics within NurseryVue that are available to teachers to support teaching and learning within Theme 4, Session 4, 12 and 15, explore how NurseryVue and the blended learning resources can be adapted to meet the needs of a range of students. The session should take around 20 minutes to complete and will include an overview of the structure of the T-level session, an exploration of how they could be best used, and to incorporate NurseryVue content for different situations and to meet the needs of T-level students.
To support the core delivery of the Education and Childcare T-level, we have produced additional and essential resources directly aligned to the requirements of the new technical qualification. Both the additional resources and the essential resources are developed with accessible features for all learners, including learners with disabilities, and come with a range of customisable features, so you can tailor the package to suit your individual learner needs. The session pack contains a detailed session plan, an e-learning module, associated student activity sheets, revision and student sessions, and homework activities. NurseryVue can be used in a variety of ways, for example, setting the scene for your session, recap or review of the session as an additional activity within your session, or for student independent study. We have identified the following sessions where NurseryVue can be used to support your delivery within the Education and Childcare T-level, and these are listed here.
NurseryVue is a really flexible resource that can help support students through these themes and sessions. You can see the topics listed, and I will go through more detail as to what NurseryVue covers. But just as a starter, we cover food and nutrition, dietary requirements, allergies and unwell children, physical care routines, and risks and hazards. NurseryVue was originally built for VR, but as colleges have shifted towards remote learning, we've adapted it for desktop. While the desktop version is not as interactive as the VR version, it still covers the exact same topics and is based on the learn, exercise, and quiz format. This resource was also developed to help support cash early year qualifications, but it also has a lot of relevancy for T-level qualifications. And because it's been differentiated to level 2 and 3 cash qualifications, this means that there is a greater degree of detail which you can offer your students in supporting them with their learning. Both levels cover the exact same topics, but with different level of detail. So if you have students who are new to this subject, you can use level 2 to give them a more accessible way to understand the topics. Whilst if you have students who are more familiar with the content, level 3 will be better suited to them. The format of NurseryVue is easy to follow because it starts with teaching and learning, supported with an interactive exercise, and then finishes with a quiz where students can test their knowledge. This tutorial helps guide you through how to access the different topics, but also how to navigate throughout, as you see from the tutorial video.
Welcome to the NurseryVue tutorial. At the start of every topic, you will be presented with a short, non-interactive teaching and learning section, which will prepare you for the upcoming exercise and quiz sections. To interact with an object or button, simply aim at it with your mouse and click. At any time, you can pause NurseryVue by using the Escape key. From here, you can choose to resume the section, restart the section, skip to the next section, or return to the main menu. There are also repeat buttons throughout the sections in case you wish to replay any missed information, instruction, or question. In the exercise sections, you will interact with objects and buttons in order to demonstrate your understanding of the material in the teaching and learning section. Once you have completed the exercise, you will be taken to the quiz section. The quiz section will present you with 3 questions, each with 3 possible answers. To select an answer, simply aim at it and click.
As previously mentioned, NurseryVue is divided into 5 key topics across both levels. Again, these are dietary requirements, food and nutrition, exercise and physical care routines, unwell children, and hazards indoors and outdoors. One thing to note is that all children and exercises presented in each topic are randomly generated when accessed.
We are now going to explore how NurseryVue can be used to support your delivery. For our first example, we are going to look at the blended learning session for Theme 4, Session 4. Remember that every blended learning session comes with a comprehensive and detailed session plan that can be amended and adapted to suit your delivery. This session is about exploring current legislation and statutory guidance for education and childcare and provides an understanding of the importance of safeguarding in childcare practice. You should note that this includes teaching and learning that involve sensitive issues, including child protection, and to be mindful of the responses and reactions of individual students. We will look at how NurseryVue can be used as either a recap or introduction to this session and how this will fit into the activities within the session. The learning outcomes of this session is to understand the importance of safeguarding and to identify and explain some of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, and to recognise and discuss high-risk scenarios in childcare and education and the possible impacts. Activity 1 asks students what they believe safeguarding means in a childcare setting and explores the key terms and principles behind safeguarding and the importance of putting the child first. At this point, before the students engage with the activity, it will be a good starting point to see the content within NurseryVue that will set the scene for this session. We are going to look at early years education level 3, exercise and physical care routines.
So the topic of exercise and physical care routines is a great example of how NurseryVue can be used to support your delivery. The topic is on both levels to different types of learners and giving them the chance to become more familiar with the subject and a more interactive experience of dealing with the topic. As you will see, the intro gives a handy reminder to the student before moving on to the exercise.
In order to support the child's development through certain stages in their lives, early years educators will have to work in partnership with children's parents and multi-agency professionals to provide any additional support the child requires to learn care routines. Multi-agency professionals offer extra support in safeguarding children. You must maintain the child's dignity and privacy throughout these support processes, as well as continuously treating them with respect. Remember, your primary professional duty is the safety of the child. Multi-agency professionals can take the form of social workers who help families cope with problems they're facing, health visitors who support the health and development of children, police liaisons who safeguard and protect children in the event of crime, and the child's doctor who can prescribe any immediate medical care the child requires.
So you can see from the video clip how NurseryVue gets students to think about safeguarding and the wider context of multi-agency working, and to enhance the topic discussion. So going back to Theme 4, Session 4, Activity 1, there is a key term definition, and before revealing this, get students to reflect on what they have just seen within NurseryVue and to ask them for their definition. Children's interests must come first, and all professionals must work together to promote the child's welfare above all else. There is a reflective question as to why this should be. This second example is staying with Theme 4, Session 4, where the purpose of this scenario is to ensure that students understand the roles and responsibilities of the practitioner in relation to the safeguarding, protection and welfare of children. Students should make links with Activity 1, which is what we have just looked at, and the topic of confidentiality and when it is okay to breach this. The scenario is designed to encourage the students to think about confidentiality and when it is okay to breach this, and to consider what may cause concern here, the roles and responsibilities of the practitioner in relation to the safeguarding, protection and welfare of children, the boundaries of confidentiality in relation to the safeguarding, protection and welfare of children, what actions to take if harm or abuse is suspected and or being disclosed, and the responsibilities of the practitioner in relation to whistleblowing. This is an ideal opportunity to pick back up on the previous example in NurseryVue Early Years Educator Level 3 and to encourage students to review their notes from this and to introduce the students to the quiz.
As with every topic, there is a quiz on what students have learned about multi-agency partners, and this multiple choice question and answer session where an explanation of the correct answer is given. The students can share their findings on the activity with each other, and this can be done in a number of ways. For example, one student per group can join another group and feedback. Groups can divide into two and swap with another group. And finally, groups can verbally feedback to the whole class. You can use the skip function to get straight to the quiz, where we have created 3 quiz questions per topic on both levels. These help test the knowledge that students have gained throughout the tutorial and the various activities in the blended learning session. And this can be used as an independent revision aid, as well as being part of a formative assessment.
For our next example, we'll be looking at Theme 4, Session 12, which looks at the role of different organisations involved in safeguarding children and young people, and to understand the warning signs, symptoms and behaviours which may indicate a child is at risk. Remember again that every blended learning session comes with a comprehensive and detailed session plan that can be amended and adapted to suit your delivery. You should also note that this includes teaching and learning that involves sensitive issues, including child protection, and to be mindful of the responses and reactions of individual students. We will look at how NurseryVue can be used as either a recap or introduction to this session, and how this will fit into the activities within the session. The learning outcomes of the session is to identify possible warning signs that a child is at risk of abuse, importance of safeguarding, and understand the context within child protection, and that safeguarding puts in place preventative processes which protect children and stop abuse from occurring. This activity looks at the roles of organisations in safeguarding children, and students are asked to match the organisations to their responsibility. There is an interactive PDF activity sheet that accompanies this activity, and students can use this to record their notes from NurseryVue. Using NurseryVue exercise and physical care routines is an excellent way of setting the scene of understanding the roles of different professional agencies.
In this topic, there was also an interactive exercise after the topic introductions. And in this example, the student has to identify the correct agency to support the child with their issue. There are 4 scenarios, and the student is encouraged to apply their learning to help complete the exercise.
This last example looks at Theme 4, Session 15, and this session is about understanding the role of adults in education and childcare regarding child protection and safeguarding. Again, you should note that this session includes teaching and learning that involves sensitive issues, including child protection, and to be mindful of the responses and reactions of individual students. And also remember, as previously mentioned, every blended learning session comes with a comprehensive and detailed session plan that can be amended and adapted to suit your delivery. This session follows on from session 14, where students will now look into more detail about the process that follows a declaration of abuse. The session will also look at understanding the purpose of a serious case review relating to safeguarding. We will look at how NurseryVue can be used as an introduction to the session and how this will fit into the activities within this session.
This introduction on exercise and physical care routines will help students set the scene and remind themselves of the role of multi-agency professionals. This is a really good recap visual resource to remind students of their prior learning, and for this example, we're going to show you the whole section on exercise and physical care routines. Going through the whole topic, the student will get to see the introduction, which outlines the topic, the exercises to which they can apply their learning, and finally the quiz where they can test their knowledge. Let's take a look.
In order to support the child's development through certain stages in their lives, early years educators will have to work in partnership with children's parents and multi-agency professionals to provide any additional support the child requires to learn care routines. Multi-agency professionals offer extra support in safeguarding children. You must maintain the child's dignity and privacy throughout these support processes, as well as continuously treating them with respect. Remember, your primary professional duty is the safety of the child. Multi-agency professionals can take the form of social workers who help families cope with problems they're facing, health visitors who support the health and development of children, police liaisons who safeguard and protect children in the event of crime, and the child's doctor who can prescribe any immediate medical care the child requires. Read the description of the child's issue on the board in front of you and select which multi-agency professionals you think should support that child in this situation. A foster parent has mentioned they may need extra support with a child from their home as they think the child may have mental development issues. Select the appropriate multi-agency support for this scenario. Very good. This child's family has recently been a victim of crime and an investigation is ongoing with this child's parents. Select the appropriate multi-agency support for this scenario. This issue does not require the child's doctor. Try again. Very good. A parent has asked for support with feeding their young child due to fussy eating. Select the appropriate multi-agency support for this scenario. Great work! This child has had a cough for over an hour, but there are no other signs of illness. The child is possibly sick, but you are unsure what with. Select the appropriate multi-agency support for this scenario. Great work! Out of these choices, who is responsible for supporting a child's exercise and physical care routines? Is it A, the child's doctor, B, the employees, or C, the health visitor? Correct! You and the child's parents need to work together to support the child in every care routine. How do multi-agency professionals support children in early years environments? Is it A, they help children get healthier and get more exercise? B, they safeguard children throughout situations in their lives? Or C, they help parents understand healthy eating and dieting? Correct! Safeguarding the child is the #1 goal for any multi-agency professionals. Sometimes supporting care routines can be complicated by situations in the child's life. What is the key consideration you should keep in mind while assessing a child's care routines? Is it A, that the child practices the care routines enough? B, the parents know how to support care routines? Or C, you maintain the child's dignity and privacy? Correct. Above all things, the child has the right to be treated with respect and have their dignity and privacy maintained. Good job.
So you can see from the video clip, by introducing your students to the whole topic of exercise and physical care routines, which looks at multi-agency working, how this would benefit your students as a recap. The starter activity reminds students that over the last few sessions they have looked at safeguarding organisations, types of abuse and signs of abuse, and revisits this prior learning. The activity requires students to recall what they have known about safeguarding and to create a mind map. The next slide in the Blended Learning Theme 4 Session 15 looks at the underpinning knowledge around the safeguarding processes. The tutor encourages the students to think about what the responsibilities of the adult is and to explain to the students what the next steps are. It is also useful to remind students about reporting information covered in sessions 4 and 5. The discussion tab on this slide poses the following questions. Why is it important to report? Why it is important the report is objective? Why it is important that information is kept confidential? The tutor would lead a brief discussion to answer the questions. The quiz from the video clip in NurseryVue reminds students of the adult's responsibilities to safeguarding. The next slide in the Blended Learning Theme 4 Session 15 is an activity where students have to design a safeguarding flowchart to show the actions required to be taken following a declaration of abuse. Students should research and use policies and statutory national and local guidance to help inform this. The flowchart will need to have anecdotal reference to explain what happens at each stage and why.
The introduction from the video clip in NurseryVue reminds students of what the multi-agency professionals' responsibilities are, so you can see how the whole section of exercise and physical care routines in one can really help set the scene on this session, as well as recap from previous sessions.
So many thanks to everyone for listening to the session. We hope you have found it useful in thinking about how to incorporate NurseryVue into the blended learning resources to suit your own delivery. So to summarise, there is a range of sessions within the Education and Childcare T-level that we mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, and we encourage you to explore them for ideas and approaches on how you can incorporate NurseryVue. Please use and adapt the activities suggested in the resources to meet your local needs and circumstances, and to build on this additional learning as an extension activity or home study.
We have looked at the content within NurseryVue and particular exercise and physical care routines, and have provided suggested sessions within Theme 4, where NurseryVue can be used to underpin knowledge, or as a revision resource, or as an introduction. If you have any questions or would like to access support and further guidance on NurseryVue, we would encourage you to get in touch with us. There is support from the innovation team regarding virtual resources, and please email us with specific queries or questions.
There is also support available from the Learning Resources team regarding the resources we have developed, how to access them and to get the most out of them. And as systems trainer, I am happy to organise centre support around this. Here is our contact details as promised. And again, another reminder to contact us for further guidance and support. Thanks again, goodbye, and stay safe from everyone at NCFE.